Now YouTubers, today we're going to talk about wishbones and bushings and stuff. Now on this particular car, it's a Volkswagen Golf diesel. The back bushings are gone on the wishbone, and on one side the ball joint is gone. Now you can just replace the ball joint, or you can just replace the bushings, but to be honest with you, it really isn't worth the time. The hassle getting these in and out without damaging them, you might as well pay a few quid more and get a wishbone. They're actually easier to fit than it is taking out them. Now again, when you're doing anything on a car, it's always best, if you do one wishbone, it's always best to do the other wishbone. We're going to replace two wishbones on this car, a drop link and track control ends and stuff like that. So we're going to go through it with you, but that's basically what we need to get, so let's get cracking on with it. I see these things, these fucking lock nuts, are an absolute waste of time. They're fucking so annoying, it's not even funny. People steal cars now before they steal wheels. They're just, anyway, lift up and down because you forget to take it out. It's fucking annoying. So anyway, first thing we need to do is take off. If you've got cars with lock nuts on, take the lock nut off and throw the fuckers as far away as possible. Waste of time. Now, so we've got the wheel off. Now, as you can see, we can now see the wishbone. So we've got the wishbone that comes all the way along, basically into there. Now, it's only 3 bolts. There's a bolt here, bolt at the front, which is here, bolt at the back, and the ball joint bolt. So what we want to do first is, see the bolt just there where my finger is. So what I want to do first is take this one off, because this is the hardest one to get off, and this is the one you want to try and get off first. Just that one there.
Alright.
Now the first thing you want to do is take off this bolt. It could be a bit tight. This is going to be the worst one, because what this has potential of doing is spinning through in the middle of the ball joint. Now if it does, you can whip off these 3 bolts underneath and you can grab it and stuff like that. It's not a big deal, but if you can get it off like this, it just makes your life a little bit easier. Now as you can see, we've screwed up as much as we can and we're now hitting the CV joint. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, if the whole thing is spinning, the easiest way to get it off. So I'm going to make this spin on purpose now, just to show you exactly what happens. So first we need to take off this though. 15mm. Never said 50. Now let's get that out of the way. The other one's broke, so we're replacing these anyway, but we'll just get that out of the way for the minute. Now, that's actually gone down now. But if I was to try and spin this bolt now, the whole thing is spinning. But actually, would you believe that? Well, I was hoping to show you how to do it, but unfortunately this one is not spinning. Now that is unusual. That's typical. I've never come across that before. Normally they spin. That is absolutely crazy. Well, there's one more way which I'm going to do just to show you as well. So I'm going to actually take off the wishbone from here. So I'm just going to undo these 2 bolts and I'll show you another way. But I just can't believe that's not spinning. Normally they do. Milk. Oh.
1945.
Don't mention the war. What, 2-0 is it?
So that's
2-0.
Continue with your video.
What is your name? Now there's an 18mm nut on top. I'm just holding it. Hopefully I can't. Yeah, got away with it. So it's an 18mm little bolt. Now what we can actually do, now this is another way of doing it. So we've undone all the bolts, so we can get a lever bar and lever this out. As you can see, just like that. Get it in there. It's going to be a bit too big, this particular one. Now this will be the other way of doing it. So as you can see, we've taken out the bolts and the wishbone is held on by this nut here. You can actually see the ball joint there, and it's that metal inside there that we need to stop. So you can just get some vice grips, literally clamp it in there like that, as tight as you can over the metal. Just quickly show you. Over the metal as tight as you can, because obviously it will spin. So you get as tight as you possibly can. And then you can literally screw it off. So you can literally screw it off. That's another way of doing it. But like I said, I can't believe that we don't have to do it this time. But anyway, that's it. So we'll just get this off and then we'll do the next thing. Now, this is the way I prefer it to do it. Now you want to make sure there is a left and a right ball joint. It says L and R on it. You want to make sure you get the right one. I like to just put this in first and just hand tight. You don't need to do it. This is not for just hand tight. Just makes it easier. 3 bolts, and then this just goes on top. And I'm only doing this hand tight just to stop them from coming out, and tighten it up finally once it's in on the car properly. There's 1 there, 2 and 3. So it's just like that. And now we'll come to fit it back on the car. Again, there's a few ways of doing it. Some people want to put the ball joint in first and try and put that in and all sorts, but personally the way I like to do it is to actually put the ball joint in last and put the 2 other bolts on. So that's just the way I personally prefer to do it. This bolt is actually easy to do. Just get that lined up. What I like to do is just put that bolt in first just to stop it from going out. The back bolt is the hardest one to put in because, as you can see from here, this bushing needs to be slightly twisted for it to actually fit in. And when the car then sits down on the floor, the suspension lifts up, which makes it all nice and level. But when it's up like this, we need to kind of bend this bushing kind of slightly. So this one is normally the hardest one to get in, but just a literally a bit of a tap and a bit of a wiggle. Now as you can see, that bolt's in, but obviously that bushing needs to be twisted out. So at this stage now, what I like to do, so that bolt's halfway in, this bolt is halfway in, and now I like to just put the ball joint in. Again, it's just hand tight. Now it's everything more or less in. Nothing is tight, but everything is more or less in. So now it's just literally a case of wiggling this, getting the bolt up through, getting that bolt in, and we're sorted. So I use lever bar and a hammer, and you just kind of lever things into place, even if you have to just kind of do all sorts of things, just to bend that and push it in. So you can actually just, I don't know if you saw that go in. Sometimes if you just grab the washer of the nut on there, you can actually see that movement. And then sometimes just a gentle hit with the hammer and it goes up. You don't want to force this up because you can damage the threads. But very gently, it doesn't need. See, I'm not close enough there, but that's basically how we're going to do it. No point filming this part because it's potentially can take long, or it can just go in straight away. But that's basically, this is the way I do it, and just lever in and out here and stuff like that. Now, a bit of persuasion with the old knockometer has got these in, but I always like to tighten them by hand. Just give them the last squeeze by hand, just so you just know then that you've definitely got them tight. Because with the air gun, you just can't quite tell how tight you've got them. So there's two 18 mils, and the nut on top is a 19 mil. So now they're on and they're tight, and as you can see, the slight angle in that bushing. But like I said, once this goes on the floor, that then lifts up straight. So next thing we need to do is tighten up the ball joint, and I prefer to tighten up these first. 13 mil. And the reason it's important to get the ball joints right is because the ball joints are actually, they have got a slight angle on them. As you can see from the right hand ball joint, they are angled. So it's important to get the right ball joint to the right side. Otherwise you'll really knock off the tracking. And the other thing with tracking is, obviously, once you do anything to do with your suspension or track rod ends, you have to get it tracked. Now, I'm not going to show you the tracking because obviously not everyone's going to have tracking gauges at home. We're going to track this, but what I should advise you is just to go down to your local garage and get it tracked after this. Then it still save you a fortune, but obviously to track it yourself, people aren't going to have them at home, so there's no point in showing you that. So give them a good squeeze. Now, the next thing is the nut for the ball joint, which is that top there. I'd say it's a 19 mil again. Yeah. Now, these again shouldn't really turn with it being a new ball joint. So you should literally get away with bigger 19 mil. You should get away with not having to do anything here, just literally tighten it up with it being a new ball joint. And the whole thing is spinning. Now, not to worry. If you're doing this at home, best thing to do is to get your jack. Now, the best thing to do if you're doing this at home is get your jack. I'm going to use a gearbox stand that's on the lift, but get a jack and gently just press up the ball joint. You don't have to go too hard, just put a bit of pressure on it. Then it means you can literally, I'll just turn this wheel so you can hopefully see a bit better. Now, and then you can literally start to turn it. Now, I can get away with that now, and turn that, and tighten that up. See, not fighting against it. Now, as I'm tightening this now, it's not going to keep locking the steering wheel. Now, that's it. Release the pressure. And that's your wishbone done. Simple as that, really. And then just put your drop link back on. We're going to change that. But you just put your drop link back on and that's it. Now the next thing we're going to do on this is do the track rod end. Now we're going to do the track rod end, and again on the track rod end you want to make sure there's an L and an R. You want to make sure you get the right one on the right side because they are angled to one side. Now, first thing we're going to do is just knock off all this old crap that's been on the road, all the dust and muck and absolutely everything. Get that nice and clean. clean as you can. Spray some lube on it. We love using lube here. Now, obviously, the car is going to need tracking after this. I know I've already said, but you can do little tricks just to get you by until you go to a garage. Basically, as you undo this bolt, what you want to do is you want to undo it. So, now I've just undone that bolt. But what I'm going to do, rather than keep screwing it, I'm just going to put it back slightly, just that, so then I know I can screw this off and that bolt will still be there. So the tracking is going to be quite close, but not perfect. It just means you can drive down to your local garage and get it tracked. Now you have a 19mm socket here. I just can't stress how easy an air gun makes it. Without the air gun, absolute nightmare. And the way to crack this off is you need to hit this part with a hammer, not this part. Now, we're actually changing this, so it doesn't matter if you damage that. But if you're taking the hub off and there's no problem with the tracker, then you don't want to damage it. So you hit the side of it here. Now, that's popped. See that? That's all you do. So you just basically just hit the side there with the hammer. Not hard, just a few little taps. Because I've loosened this, this will now spin off. You spin this one off. Now drop on the floor, get the new one and spin the new one on until you reach the nut. This means, like I say, it's going to be close to the right tracking mark but not spot on. That's hitting the nut. Now the whole thing is spinning, the bar, the track rod and absolutely everything, so I now know that I'm sorted. I can tighten that back. Now we're just going to put it on. Again, it's easy with the air gun, but you want to be careful not to keep the air gun on it or she'll break it. So I'm just nipping it with the air gun. Now that's nipped, and I'm going to tighten it by hand just to be on the safe side. Again, this is going to move the wheel, but as soon as the wheel's moved in and it stops, and we can just give it a bit of a nip. Now, the last thing to do is just nip up this. Like I said, it's going to need tracking, but at least this is going to be close. It's going to allow you to go to a garage and get it tracked. But you are going to have to get it tracked. So that's basically it. How you put a wishbone on and a track rod end. Simple. I'm going to show you the drop link because I'm going to show you one on the far side because it's actually snapped. So I'm going to show you how to do that next. Now, as you can see, we put the wishbone this side and everything, so I'm just going to show you on this particular drop link because it's snapped, so half it's missing. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a metal one on, which is obviously a hell of a lot stronger. And this is simple. It's just literally, as you can see, I've started unloosening the bolt already. Unloosen the bolt. Take it off. Now there is obviously another bolt here that's on the old wishbone, and then all you do, get the new drop link. This one's slightly different because it has the bolt already into it. You put that in there, screw that on, put the other bolt on, and that's your drop link on. But it's been replaced with a metal one which is a lot stronger than this crappy plastic one. Now, so this is the old piece. Just taking the bolt out and put the bolt on, and that's how you do a drop link on this particular car. Now, some of the drop links that come up here go all the way up there. They're a bit more tricky to do because there's a bolt on the other side, but this is a drop link on these Golfs. Like I said, we're going to do the other one on the other side. I can only advise you, it's best, whatever you replace one side, it's best to replace on the other side. So that's basically it. We've done wishbones, track rod ends and drop links. Now what is really important, like I said, is what you definitely want to do is get this car tracked. We're going to do it here ourselves, but there's no point me showing you that because you're not going to have a tracking machine at home, so there's no point me showing you. Just with the little trick I showed you with the track rod ends, it's best to do that and then go down to your local garage and get it tracked. And that's it. So look, hope this video helps. Thumbs up the video, subscribe, and don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.